getting messages. I'm getting messages, and I'm not going to be quiet. I'm going to tell y'all everything that I know, because I know for a fact that a lot of you guys
not my video.
stop paying attention to this story.
Go to
www.flyhike.com. From September 9th to today. I'm going to tell you what's going on.
Just listen what happened.
You need to hear this. This is very serious.
I'm not sure if this is true or not, but this is just the story I picked up.
Number one, 2 girls were killed. Okay? 2 girls were killed. The footage that was released the night of Kenneka's death was fake. Okay? Her roaming the halls was scripted and staged. Her walking into the kitchen was scripted and staged. And also, the footage of the live video in the room was staged. They had all those kids go in there and pretend, okay? Kenneka died 3 days before that night. The woman that died that night is Antonia Evans, and y'all ain't even really seen her yet, unless you've been following the story. So I'm gonna break it down to you, okay? Andrew Holmes is the activist that claims that he saw the footage of Kenneka walking into the freezer, and then later on went back and denied it. That's Andrew Holmes. He's the black guy. He's the one that started all this shit. There was a girl that got raped in March, okay? She got raped in March of 2017, but she looked exactly like Kenneka. Now, you got Lenora and Teresa playing the mom and the sister. That is not her mom, and that is not her motherfucking sister, okay? She's not neither of them. The sister is actually related to the girl that was raped in March that looks like Kenneka, but that's not her. So I'm gonna tell you what they did. They hid Brianna in Indiana and paid Kenneka to play 2 people. They played Kenneka to play Brianna because she looked so much like her, and they also paid her to play a girl that died in the freezer, but she was never supposed to die. The other girl that died is Antonia Evans. So listen to me, because this is confusing. There's 3 girls. 3. There's Antonia Evans, there's Kenneka, and there's Brianna. Brianna's still alive. That's the girl that was originally raped, that was in on it too. She got paid to allow them to use her picture to pretend that was Kenneka. So on Dr. Oz and on the news and all that shit, that was Brianna's picture. That wasn't Kenneka. But they paid Kenneka to play both parts because they were gonna get money off of Antonia Evans' organs. So both of those girls were put on Front Street. The only person that was not supposed to be known about was Antonia Evans. Now I'm gonna tell you who Antonia Evans is. Antonia Evans is the woman in the freezer and the woman in the casket. That is a 48-year-old woman that went missing the same time as Kenneka. Her mother is 65 years old and has been looking for her for months. Talk to her daughter every day. All of a sudden, she disappears. So let me tell you what they did. They tricked Kenneka and told Kenneka they were gonna kill Antonia at the hotel. She was supposed to get a lump sum of money for the organs. So the real Kenneka thought she was about to get paid off, but they ended up killing her ass off too, because she was young and her body was more valuable. So basically, yeah, Kenneka was at the hotel, but not on the 9th. She was there on the 6th. She got drunk. She got there early in the daytime. She got drunk. Her friend Monifa, once she was drunk, took her to the cremation place. And when she went to the cremation place, it was the mom, the fake sister, and the big dogs and the higher-ups. They took her ass out, bro. Bam, no more Kenneka. Mutilated her body, took all of her organs, no more Kenneka. All right? Now we need somebody to put in the casket at this funeral. That's where Antonia comes in. They killed Antonia, took Kenneka's clothes from the cremation spot, put them on Antonia, put Antonia in a casket, and buried her under Kenneka's name. That's what they did. So basically, now that people are investigating, they're about to pull up the body, and I bet money they didn't expect for this to get this big, bro. They didn't expect that. They about to exhume the body and watch. It's another woman in there. It's not gonna be no 19-year-old girl. The 19-year-old girl is fully cremated. She's gone. There's nothing left. She's already been raised to crematory, okay? She's gone. But Teresa's the killer. The mom is the killer. It was a sacrifice and like a mini movie. This lady was about to be getting paid her whole life how to get a movie deal and all of that shit. You know what I mean? As a woman, a grieving mother. Okay? So Kenneka is dead. And the woman y'all don't know about, like I said, Antonia Evans. Now, if you are still confused, let me post 3 videos. I promise you'll watch this. And the reason why you guys need to know this is because if they're doing stuff like this and getting away with it, that's not good for us. Okay? That means a lot to me. What are you trying to declare? You know? So, yeah, like I said, I'll send you the videos so you can see for yourself. We have documents, records, and proof. That lady at that funeral in that casket was a 48-year-old woman named Antonia Evans, and Kena Jenkins is gone, and Kenneka thought she was going to get money from Antonia, and they fucking snaked her in the end. Alright? So I'm going to send you that shit. They killing people and hiding them in the system. That's what they're doing. Okay? Peace out, y'all.
First question is, how do you feel? How do both of you feel?
Want to?
Nervous right now. Yeah, but I feel good. I'm happy. Yeah, I'm in a good place.
Yeah, I think we were a little nervous. I think it was a very intimate thing.
Yeah.
And it was just, luckily, thankfully, between us for a while, so yeah. Weird.
Yeah, it's nerve-wracking a little bit.
It's a bit weird.
Yeah.
We're happy to be here.
Feels strange to be telling the world this private story.
A little bit, yeah. And I think the question of figuring out, you know, what that means, that we all obviously went through that, and I know I've kind of lived my life in a position where people have seen a lot of it, but this is something that's important. You know, this isn't something that's easy to talk about. Hopefully it's impactful, because what we experienced, we really hoped that it would be something that obviously saved my life. But also just to help other people too, because that's clearly why I feel like I have the platform now too. Yeah.
Let's go back a little bit. Tell me how did this idea first you two are best friends. You knew struggling with lupus.
Yeah.
Whose idea was it about the kidney?
Mine. We were living together at the time. Coincidentally, I was in transition, and I left to film in February, and when I came back, I had already put my suitcases in there, and I was like, okay, I'm about to look for a place, and something in my heart told me not to look yet. You know, I felt God being like, just wait, and I actually told her that, and she goes, well, I like having you here, you know, let's just wait it out a bit, and I didn't understand why, because I was so ready to just live on my own, and one day she came home, and she was emotional. I hadn't asked anything. I knew that she hadn't been feeling well, but I know her, and I know that, you know, we both, when we get a certain way, just let us be. And she couldn't open a water bottle one day. She chucked it and just started crying, and I said, what's wrong? And that's what she told me. And she goes, I don't know what to do. The list is 7 to 10 years long. And it just vomited out of me. I was like, of course I'll get tested. And she didn't want me to do it. She goes, I can't. You have so much going on in your life right now, and there's a lot of downtime. And I felt a lot of peace about it, and there was like no question. I was like, I'm going to get tested. You're my sister, of course. And so I called her assistant and I said, give me the information. I want to do this.
So when Francie called to Selena and said, I got tested and I'm a match, then what happened?
I definitely remember. I remember you wanted it to be a surprise and somebody ruined it for you, so I'm sorry.
This is what happened. But you know what? I think it's a beautiful story still, because, you know, I volunteered, but you don't really know what you're getting yourself into, and it's scary. You know, they make you take a 2-hour course to kind of educate you on what giving up a kidney means for your life. And so it was just a scary process, learning everything. And I remember telling the nurses, like, okay, I'm gonna find out first, and the donors always find out first. And they said, yes. I said, great, how much time do I have to make a decision? And they said, as long as you want. I was like, I just wanna pray about it. I just wanna talk to my pastor about it. I just wanna feel that peace. So that was like my thing. But I know that in the back of my mind, I would have been like, God, I need a sign, I need something. And so she called me and said, hey, we're a match. And I was like, why are you telling me this? But in my heart, immediately I felt God being like, this is the affirmation that you needed and you wanted from me. So then I got even more peace that this was something I was supposed to do. But I did have a surprise, and I made her pretend that she didn't know anything. I said, we're acting right now. This is a scene.
Very dramatic.
Yeah, very dramatic. So I was like, I'm walking in. I had a case that I had engraved. It was my Bible. And on top of it, I had a quote that she gave me when we first started becoming friends, and it says, a sister's a forever friend. So I had that engraved, and then inside I had a kidney bean in there, and that was my way of telling her, yeah, that we were a match.
Very happy.
I didn't know. So, tell me a little bit about the process, because I think one of the reasons why it's important that we're talking is because there are a lot of people who wish they had a match, and there's a huge effort to have people donate if they can.
Yeah.
And that is an incredible gift to give, whatever the circumstances, whether to a friend or to a stranger.
Right.
So what was your process? What did you have to go through?
It's a lot of testing. You basically have to make sure, and the doctors make sure, that you're not just physically healthy, but mentally and emotionally healthy, because it is a very emotional process. Lots of blood work. I remember the first time that I went in, they took like 30 vials of blood. I'm just sitting there. I mean, I don't think my blood was even flowing anymore. It was so much. CT scans, X-rays, sugar drinks that I don't drink sugar, but they wanted to test your blood having fast for 12 hours, and then after you've had sugar, because diabetes is a risk, and that runs in my family. So it was a whole process, but with our situation, because we were kind of an emergency situation, I did everything in like a day. And usually the process takes like 6 months.
You feel like, I mean, because people, you know, the notion of all that private struggle and sadness is so in contrast to this beautiful, vibrant, successful superstar that the whole world saw.
Yeah, maybe. But I'm also kind of honest with where I am. As much as I want to be, I'm willing to share what I want to share. But at the end of the day, I have the exact same pressure of everyday stuff. But I never viewed myself as that. I think that's when it gets dangerous. I never viewed myself as anything other than who I am. And I am very aware I have a platform. I've always tried my hardest to use that for positive, and in a way, that platform has saved me from myself a lot, because I wouldn't want anybody to experience what I've experienced. I wouldn't want anybody to hurt or understand or feel alone. And I get it. I'm constantly on things. I'm distracted by the world and the ways of the world and my generation. I think it's very difficult to be living in my time right now. Our girls our age, it's really hard, and I've always just wanted to exude and show people that I'm not unattainable. You're not looking at someone that's, oh, you've got everything. That's not the case. I love what I do. I work really hard. I have worked really hard. But at the end of the day, I'm a person, and if I could let people know that they're looking at things that sometimes aren't real, they need to understand that they're beautiful, they're real, they're going through things, and it's completely okay. That's why I'm so fortunate that it was one of my best friends that I got to experience this with. And we actually met somebody shortly after that you're close with who had a transplant too, and then you just have this whole new perspective on people that go through something. A stranger giving somebody else a kidney is even amplified, because there are people who are so good that they want to help somebody, and it's so beautiful and rare, and people need things. Nobody's aware of half the things that doctors and, you know, lupus or cancer or, you know, a kidney transplant, an organ, heart transplant, all these things. I don't think people are aware of how much that's a need. And there are simple things you can do, like even just donating blood, or maybe just being aware, talking about it, putting on your license and accepting maybe I do want to be a donor to when I don't need my body anymore. That's a big deal, but I'm just saying there are things that you can do, and I think that's something that's important. I think people should be aware of that too. And I don't know, I think that's...
Yeah, it's definitely a rewarding experience, especially because a few weeks afterwards, my friend called me and she said, hey, I heard about what you did. My boyfriend's doing it tomorrow, anonymously. He didn't know who he was giving it to, and I was like, wow.
So cool.
Yeah, let me talk to him because I know exactly how this feels. And a lot of information that I had given him, we were so lucky. We have amazing, amazing doctors, and half the stuff I told him, he didn't know.
Did you ever, in your hardest moment, think, why did I do this?
No, I never regretted it at all. I'm actually really honored and grateful that I was able to do that for her. And, sometimes I even look at her and I'm like, wait, so I did that? Like, it's just weird. And, she tells me, like, you saved my life. And it's just hard to process because to me, like, I love her so much. She's my sister. It's like, it wasn't even a question, never a regret. I think just the recovery was just hard. But again, I'm going to bring up God again because he's awesome. Like, had him just help me through that.
There is something really profound about a friendship, but now there's this physical connection.
Yeah.
Something that was in you, Francia, is now in you, Selena. You ever let yourself think about that?
So weird.
It is weird. I do, yes. And there are a lot of, so because I went through that process, I think as a woman, especially now, there is the physicality. I actually have a little bit of a protrusion that will be there forever, and that means I kind of have to dress differently and be aware of it a little more. And it was really, really massive at first. I ended up having to get it drained because it was just, it had got, my body went through so much. But it was weird, it was just kind of like, I would laugh because we would think, okay, that's insane. That's happening. I have
like that was
part of your body.
It's still so weird.
It is weird.
Dr. David Grant, one of the most gifted surgeons of his generation. He excels at complicated and highly specialized surgeries requiring detailed planning and the ability to persevere despite high risks and high stakes. For example, in London, Ontario, he performed the world's first liver small bowel transplant in 1989, which even today is still a relatively rare procedure. Later, with his colleagues, Dr. Grant transplanted the liver, bowel, stomach, and pancreas into a 5-month-old infant, the world's youngest recipient of a multi-organ transplant. On the verge of being recruited to one of the prestigious transplant centers in the United States, Dr. Grant was coaxed into joining the transplant program at UHN. There, he and his colleagues in the liver transplant program developed it into an international destination for clinicians, visiting professors, and fellows. Dr. Grant co-developed and refined the Living Donor Liver program into what is now the premier such program in the Western world. Recently, he and his team spearheaded the first North American paired living liver donor exchange, with 2 anonymous living liver donors and 2 recipients, along with a team of 28 staff and surgeons performing the 4 surgeries in 12 hours.
Disclaimer: fair use act, education purpose use only. All rights, image, materials, and the music clip belong to their prospective owners, and we do not claim ownership. Everybody that I'm pointing out, the doctors that's down with the surgery, that's the one that touched Kenneka's body. It was multiple doctors, they got a team of surgeons, so you know how it's finna go in the underground basement where is a hospital at under the hotel, keeping Radburn name alive, cause that's who started all of this. Don't believe me? I'm finna pull all the doctors up and give you their background and show you where is the black market at.
12 hours. He also developed the anonymous living liver donation program into the largest one in the world with 58 anonymous donors since 2005. He especially paid meticulous attention to the ethical concerns of why we should operate on donors with no biological relationship or emotional bond to the recipient. despite the significant risks to them. Dr. Grant says he got tired of seeing liver patients die while waiting for a transplant, so he put a great deal of his energy and thought into making living donation a safe option for those willing to do it. "I have the utmost admiration for living donors," he says. "That's why it is so important to shout out to the world how life-changing and important this gift is." Dr. Grant will be spending part of the year in Nova Scotia, putting into practice Yale's famous Science of Happiness course. Dr. Gary Levy, as one of the founders and second medical director of the multi-organ transplant program, Dr. Levy's aim has always been to develop a strong research program and integrate that into clinical practice to help patients. He remembers the stories his University of Toronto, U of T, teachers told him about patients dying from liver disease. That pushed me to try and understand the mechanisms of disease so that we could improve treatment for patients with end-stage organ failure. I'm proud of the amazing people I have worked with throughout the years and all the people I have trained. Many of them are now leaders in transplantation the world over. In a bold move in 1990, Dr. Levy united separate transplant programs in kidney, heart, liver, and lung within the hospital, a first in Canada. He also partnered with 4 teaching hospitals, including Toronto Western, St. Michael's, and Sick Kids. This approach of sharing knowledge amongst different specialties for better outcomes is now recognized and modeled worldwide for its quality patient care and excellent outcomes, and is the gold standard in educating the next generation of clinicians. In keeping with his focus on collaboration and creating a hub of excellence in Ontario, in 2009, Dr. Levy created the first University of Toronto Transplantation Institute with the U of T and hospital partners, Sick Kids, Sunnybrook, and St. Michael's, where international researchers and students learn about and create interdisciplinary research projects without borders. In his own research and practice, Dr. Levy has made seminal findings in immune mechanisms, established UHN's robust living liver donor program to improve access for patients who need liver transplants, pioneered treatments to reduce or eventually eliminate immunosuppressive medications, and explored the possibility of stem cell therapy. As well as Dr. Levy's many academic and administrative achievements, he continues with his research program in tolerance to reduce long-term need for immunosuppression and still plays an active role in increasing public awareness about organ donation and the role each of us can play in helping others who need life-saving organs. Scott McIntyre, a nurse. He was the nurse manager of the liver transplant unit, which, with other organ groups, became the multi-organ transplant program. Scott then became program manager and clinical director of the program for more than 10 years. He is a certified health executive and the senior clinical vice president and executive lead at Toronto General Hospital. Scott has been at the forefront of leading and helping teams achieve positive outcomes, such as creating a blame-free culture of safety where everyone feels confident to speak up for safety, decreasing emergency wait times, and encouraging the use of prevention bundles at the point of care, which decrease complications after surgery. Scott and his team have encouraged a learning environment, helping units to stay focused, positive, and engaged through changing times. TG retreats have showcased how creative units are in practicing resilience and optimism, from creating a happiness HAC, hospital-acquired condition, to practicing gratitude, to reading thank you cards out loud at unit safety huddles. To help build resilience, he introduced TG's first and continuing art exhibit, showcasing the creative works of staff. We have to rejuvenate ourselves in ways that create optimism and serenity, Scott says. We have to build ourselves back up in order to go back into that hectic environment where we are constantly giving of ourselves. Leading system transformation by developing new models of care is a key strength of Scott's, and he has sponsored innovative projects such as Hospital at Home. To ease capacity pressures and provide seamless care, this new way of delivering care substitutes a portion of the hospital stay with acute care services delivered in the home. In addition, Scott has encouraged partnerships with community agencies such as Woodgreen, Hillcrest Reactivation Center, and the Toronto Grace Center to help with patients who can be discharged from the hospital but are not yet ready to go home. Scott has also been a strong champion of developing and strengthening hospital-wide systems to enhance patient engagement, such as Partners in Care, increase organ and tissue donation, develop an energy conservation workplace, hone our environmental emergency response, and improve patient flow. He was a pioneer in helping TG develop the partners and care service standards to promote a culture of service excellence for patients, families, and staff. UHN values reflect many of these standards, such as compassion, teamwork, and integrity. Scott plans to spend lots of time at his cottage near Midland, landscaping, taking nature photos, and hiking.
Y'all heard it? Now you want to know why a lot of bodies be coming up missing on hiking trails, deserts, and all of this stuff. Well, guess what Trey Game pointing out to you? Everybody that had something to do with Kenneka death, dealing with surgeries. When you dig deep in the Kena Jenkins case, these the higher ups people that perform surgeries, autopsy, and everything when they came from the Kena Jenkins case. It's the reason why I'm showing you this. Cause when you go back to this, do this name look familiar on the autopsy report? Hold on. This is what a lot of people don't know. Since you get this name on the autopsy report, look at that picture. But go to this. Here go another name that was on the autopsy report. A family tree that's running the chief medical examiner office at Cook County, a family operation. Not only is a family operation, but you could also go to their movies. Hold on. Oh, dig a more little research. You'll understand all of this. Oh, okay. They all family. This, oh. Boom. Why when you dig in the Kena Jenkins case, it's bringing you back to these people, bro? Look. And check this out. In all these movies, you might see some of the actors, some of the extras on the footage. On the footage. Look. If you watch this movie, any one of these movies, other movies that came from these people, bro, then you will understand this. Then you will understand the family tree. And these people is medical examiner of the cook. Oh no, wait a minute. And if you look her up, look how many lawsuits that were filed against her by misidentifying bodies. Misidentifying a homicide with an accident. Look. Everybody that I'm showing you touched Kenneka body physically. They in the paperwork. If they wasn't in the paperwork, I would have never found them. Go look how many hotels they own. This the cold part about it. Look how many hotels they own, and look how many relatives will own the hotels, and they will be managers, supervisors, sales directors. Hold on. Is it just me? Is it just me? People
people say they want justice for Kenneka, right? I ain't just showing y'all just no doctor that's in the organ house. I'm showing everybody you see touch Kenneka body. And Selena Gomez. Now these the higher ups. Look. Then you finna understand this. Oh, you made this post September 10th at 5:14 p.m. And you got this whole narrative. Come on, gang. Look at this. They all work together. Matter of fact,
a 19-year-old West Side woman was found dead in a walk-in freezer at a Rosemont hotel where she
Tiara.
Hurry up and buy. OLDHCAD.
Joined.
October 4th, 2005. Messages. A 19-year-old West Side woman was found dead in a walk-in freezer at a Rosemont hotel where she had gone for a party with friends and had been missing for a day, her family said Sunday. Kena Jenkins was pronounced dead at 12:48 a.m. Sunday, according to the Cook County Medical Examiner's Office. Jenkins, of the 2100 block of West Warren Boulevard, had gone to a party Friday night with friends in a hotel room at the Crown Plaza Chicago O'Hare Hotel in Rosemont, according to her mother, Teresa Martin. Martin said police told her Jenkins apparently let herself into the freezer while inebriated and died inside. An autopsy was expected to be performed Sunday, said Becky Schleicherman, spokeswoman.
Did anybody look up that name, Becky? Did anybody look up that name, Becky? And guess when the autopsy report was done? The same day they found the body? What if the autopsy and everything was already done? They said they were doing the autopsy according to the timestamp on the paperwork. They were doing this September the 10th at 10 a.m. in the morning. 10 a.m. in the morning.
Spokeswoman for the medical examiner's office. It wasn't immediately clear whether foul play was suspected in Jenkins' death. Martin said her daughter's friends called her after 4 a.m. Saturday to say they were in the car Martin had lent her daughter for the night, and they had Jenkins' cell phone.
Already got a narrative. If you find out the truth, be like, oh, we know when they place her in the freezer. And Miss Teresa know this, the staff, the organ harvest, Selena Gomez, they all know what happened, right? So they gave us this narrative. Cold game. Cold game, bro. Miss Teresa felt with the script. Let's give them this Miss Teresa and stir the whole pot up.
Cell phone.
But they said they had lost track of Jenkins in the hotel and left after they were unable to find her. Martin said she immediately headed to the hotel early Saturday morning to try to find her daughter. But she said it was early Sunday morning before Rosemont police told her Jenkins' body had been found inside a walk-in freezer in the hotel that was turned on and...
Y'all see this? Y'all can hear the narrative like, damn. This just to show you this whole narrative was part of the script. It was just a foundation to set for Miss Teresa and throw us in the conspiracy how she got in the goddamn freezer. Just like Irene said, they've been planning this. You see how the plan was. You see, this the plan they had in mind. We're gonna kill that girl, sacrifice that girl, and we're gonna tell the public this.
Cold butt was not being used to store food. Speaking to reporters outside the hotel Sunday morning, Martin said she was having trouble understanding what had happened. Family, Chicago teen found dead in Rosemont hotel freezer.
That's the foundation. Oh, go to Monifa. Monifa set this up. But if you look what's really going on this page, man, these people ain't active like that on this page. This is all, look at the names that's commenting. Soon as you post it, I'm coming right after a general manager. Look, this is a website of a group cover. Look, this just to boost everybody up. Yeah, let's get on Monifa. This at 5:19. The first post was at what time? 5:14. Now look. Team owners, managers and team owners. This the head honcho that's in charge. Somebody named Tiara with a man picture that been had this website up for a while. So when you look at it, look, you see the setup? I heard her best friend was about $200 live on Facebook. I could hear that poor girl screaming, "Help me!" You still thinking that? Oh, you still thinking, oh, Monifa pull her out the room. You still focusing on, man, look, Kenneka had to come out that room around about this time. Man, when I went back to all my live videos and other YouTubers, look how all we dumb, how we all sounded dumb by following the lie and broke it down. Look, check it out. If you go to this website right now, let's see how active it is. Let's go to the home page. Come on now. Now you see this? Look. Look what they all talking about. This whole thing is a fucking cult. Cause when the next murder happen, you won't be surprised that you will see all of these people comment on the murder. Matter of fact, let's go to this. People who got into big trouble selling body parts. This is big business. This big business, gang. Check this out, how big this business, because everybody I'm showing you got something to do with Kenneka. Oh, y'all remember this? Off the rat burn? Let me show y'all an image right quick. I'm finna show y'all something how serious this is. Do y'all remember when I was going on Facebook and I was showing y'all those images? I'm like, man, y'all see those website photos they be sharing? I'm finna show it to you. Why I find the video? Now you finna see what Arthur Radburn come in at. Cause he ain't got nothing to do with the Kena Jenkins case. But the people that he worked with do. And they still doing what he was doing. But better how he had it.
We're happy to be here.
Feels strange to be telling the world this private story.
A little bit, yeah. And I think the question of figuring out, what that means, that we all obviously went through that, and I know I've kind of lived my life in a position where people have seen a lot of it, but this is something that's important. This isn't something that's easy to talk about. Hopefully it's impactful, because what we experienced, we really hoped that it would be something that obviously saved my life, but also just to help other people too, because that's clearly why I feel like I have the platform on YouTube that we have.
Well, let's go back a little bit. Tell me how did this idea first come up? You two are best friends.
Yeah.
You knew, Francia, that Selena had been struggling with lupus.
Yeah.
Whose idea was it about the kidney?
Mine. We were living together at the time. Coincidentally, I was in transition, and I left to film in February, and when I came back, I had already put my suitcases in there, and I was like, okay, I'm about to look for a place, and something in my heart told me not to look yet. I felt God being like, just wait. And I actually told her that, and she goes, well, I like having you here, let's just wait it out a bit. And I didn't understand why, because I was so ready to just live on my own. And one day she came home, and she was emotional. I hadn't asked anything. I knew that she...
Right here. Here we go. This is the official website. That you thinking you finna go and buy some Ray-Bans? No, not Ray-Bans. No, let's keep it quiet in my Selena Gomez voice. But after Ratburn. When I clicked on the website, bro, when I clicked on that website, man, I couldn't believe. That's why they showed this. In they Facebook posts. See that? Look, here go Muhammad. Guess how I found him? Here go, look. Bruh, y'all don't see this? Look. All of this is an invitation for organ harvesting. If you in the program. Oh, you think I'm lying? I showed y'all this. I showed y'all these images. Click on that website. I bet you won't do it. Look, you think these got something to do with Ray-Ban glasses? Come on now. This ain't got nothing to do with glasses. Nothing to do with Ray-Ban. But off the Ray-Ban. Hold up. Him. He worked for David Pena. Check this out. This what's going on. All these doctors on the black market. On the black market, perform surgeries at the Crown Plaza Hotel for celebrities. Crown Plaza is the #1 spot that these doctors come into. They even set a hospital downstairs. And they got these people in there doing real criminal activities. Oh, you think this is crazy? I ain't even got started yet. This is a family tree. Put it like this here. This is the same person that you see control the medical examiner office. If you die in Chicago, whatever death, you got to go through these people regardless. And guess what they can do? Remember what Dr. Ali said? Yeah, if this body fall up under this ordinance, we could take livers. Kidneys. And you want to know why they didn't accept Miss Teresa in the Mommy Celebrity Club? Yes, these people got a Mama Celebrity Club that all them sacrifice their kids. Hold on. Look. Did nobody want to believe me when I showed everybody this? Hold on, let me pull her up. Syrup Jacob. Let me pull Syrup Jacob up. Syrup Jacob at. Gonna be right up in her, I believe. Right here. Check this out. This is an employee, a supervisor for housekeeping. Now this lady is a supervisor. If you look at her background, this lady is a surgeon. She went to school for surgery. If this lady went to school for surgery, apparently she don't want to work in no hospital. She want to keep this shit on the black market and doing this shit on the Crown Plaza Hotel. Hold on. These is the people. Put it like this. This the best thing you can do. Let's buy the hotel. All right, let's buy a hotel. I'm a surgeon and all this, but you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna appoint me as a housekeeper. Cause you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna work at this hotel and cause we got a hospital downstairs, so we just gonna play a role like, yeah, this is a normal hotel. Come on in, check in and stuff like this. If I was in surgery, if I went to school for surgery, right, and the anatomy of the body, and I studied this, so I'm a crooked one. So I ain't got no intention of going to no hospital and stealing no organs. No, that's not. No, I'm talking about now. What you gonna have to do? Damn, you know, my people, they bought this hotel and shit. I'm into this. Let's build a hospital downstairs, and I'm gonna just pose as the housekeeping because this is gonna be my regular job from my income. But that black market on the job, me harvesting organs, I'm making a killing. It's sad that these people got a mindset like that and we still falling victim to this shit. That just let you know who entertains. Who entertained? Look, housekeeping that went to school to remove body parts. So when they come to the hotel, just overlook her, but like, yeah, we know it's about harvesting, but overlook this bitch. This bitch got all the skills in the world, just like he do. This how they still getting away with it, cause the public still sleep. If the public still asleep, they can get away with it all they want. If if you say you want justice for Kenneka, right? Watch this. Everybody know what I said in my last live video. What question I said? Yeah, y'all go do y'all research. Tell me, Kenneka background. Watch this. Did you do your research on Kenneka background? Mm-hmm. Look, if you did, you will understand my frustration. And then look, this the cold part about it. Hold on. Matter of fact, here go off the red burn that's connected to Crown Plaza. If he wouldn't have got caught, Crown Plaza would have never been up on investigation for body parts. Oh, you don't think it said nothing about Mexican? But here go off the red bird.
As reported by Reuters, so-called body brokers, who arranged in the 1700s, doctors became increasingly interested in obtaining human cadavers for medical training and research, which meant relying on grave robbers to supply illegal corpses for dissection. These days, awareness of the need for cadavers and organs for transplants has led to greater willingness to donate both during life and after death. However, there are still shortages, and the illegal sale of cadavers and organs has become a serious problem in the United States and elsewhere. Angela MacArthur, who oversees the donation of cadavers at the University of Minnesota Medical School, said, "The current state of affairs is a free-for-all. I don't know if I can state this strongly enough. What they are doing is profiting from the sale of humans." As reported by Reuters, so-called body brokers, who arrange for the sale of cadavers to medical and research facilities, often target the disadvantaged and offer money to families who agree to donate their family members' remains. As reported by Knowledge at Wharton, in some cases, the remains are sold without the family's consent. The illegal trade of transplant organs is another serious concern. Kidneys, which can be harvested from living donors, are the most common organs illegally traded and transplanted. Global Financial Integrity reports these organ brokers also target poorer people who are coerced to part with a kidney for money. Fortunately, sometimes the criminals who do these heinous things get caught and punished. Here are people who got into big trouble for selling body parts. Arthur Rathburn sold diseased body parts. WXYZ-TV Detroit Channel 7/YouTube. In 2013, the Federal Bureau of Investigation raided a Michigan corporation owned and managed by Arthur and Elizabeth Rathburn. According to the United States Court of Appeals for the Sixth Circuit, International Biological Incorporated purchased cadavers and organs from different sources and rented them to medical professionals, who then used them for training. Although the rental of human cadavers and organs is generally legal for medical training purposes, Arthur failed to disclose many of the remains he provided were diseased. According to the Sixth Circuit Court, all of the specimens IBI received were from reputable companies, which provided clearly marked, detailed information about the donors, including that some of them tested positive for hepatitis, HIV, and other infectious diseases. However, Arthur and Elizabeth didn't bother giving that information to those who rented cadavers and organs from him. He also provided his customers with a contract, which implied the organs were tested and found negative for the very diseases some actually had. As reported by the Chicago Tribune, Arthur was also accused of deceiving the families of the deceased. Although the families agreed that their loved ones' remains could be used for medical training, they expected them to be cremated and the ashes returned when the
Man, this is what I'm trying to tell everybody. This is what I'm basically telling everybody. It's a underground hospital at Crown Plaza, and this bodies down there. If you send the feds right now, and go in Crown Plaza, this gonna be the biggest bus in the world when they come to harvesting. Then you will understand how many people came up missing. That's just simple. Simple as that. This is how powerful the Kena Jenkins case is. Guess what? You can go in there, John. Cameras rolling. And you've been on the Kena Jenkins case. You know the layout in the hotel, so you know where exactly to go to and pinpoint where it's at. See what I'm saying? You can go, if you watch this finna separate a real JFK. A real JFK that been down could go to the Crown Plaza and go to the Pen Park. Another motherfucker could go there and goddamn it, oh yeah, you know, and I'm in the Crown Plaza right now, you know, let's go. No. I'm telling y'all, this the cold part about why you think the feds did not get involved. Cause look how much money the city finna lose. If you would have took down Crab Plaza, guess you taking down states, medical examiner office, funeral homes. But they want y'all to chase Snoop, and Ray on the footage. Look what colleges they came from. Look at the colleges. Nobody didn't watch the footage. You see what I'm saying? Look at all these people been getting away with this shit, bruh. And the story is so, look, listen to the stories.
Training was complete. Instead, Arthur often kept certain parts and only returned partial remains to the families. Arthur Rathburn was ultimately convicted on several charges and sentenced to 9 years in prison. Funeral directors sold body parts without families' consent. KREX News 5/YouTube. Between 2010 to 2018, mother and daughter Shirley Cook and Megan Hess operated the Sunset Mesa Funeral Home, pictured. As reported by CNN, the Montrose, Colorado, mortuary provided cremation services. However, Hess and Koch also had a macabre side business, which involved selling organs and sometimes entire cadavers without the family's consent. As stated in a press release, the United States Attorney's Office for the District of Colorado said some families consented to small tissue samples being removed and donated for medical research prior to cremation. However, in many instances, Hess and Koch removed more than was previously agreed and sold the tissue, pocketing the cash. They also sold organs or whole bodies without families' knowledge. But how did they give the families the cremains when the body hadn't been cremated at all? They simply lied about what ashes the families were given. Authorities estimate the remains of hundreds of people were mishandled. Some of the organs and tissues Hess and Koch sold were diseased. They lied to the buyers, certifying that the parts had been tested and determined to be free from any infectious diseases.
Y'all see this? I'm showing y'all. Look. I ain't even gotta talk. I'm showing you. George Zimmerman killed Trayvon Martin. If you look up who is Trayvon Martin, go look at the family tree. Not only that, go look how this murder and see why he got off. It was meant for him to get off because who needed an organ? Look at this. Ain't this the same similar outfit Miss Teresa would have on? Purple with a black leather jacket with the spikes on it. You see what I'm saying? You can go to Miss Teresa's page. Miss Teresa's gonna have this same blouse on with the spiked leather jacket on her birthday. On her fucking birthday. Payal, Eastern Star, 33-degree masonry. Hold up. No, wait a minute. This the whole purpose of this murder. See this? Look, boom. Read it. Do your research. Do your research. This is why this man was killed. All because. Guess where his digital footprint on Twitter, just like Kenneka, went viral on Twitter, just like Gina McGill called Zach TV and said, they's on Twitter. Look, this is why this man died. He needed a heart transplant. Old people want younger kidneys. They believe they live longer if they get all their body parts. If you need a heart transplant, do you want to know? You want another old man heart, or you want young Trayvon Martin heart? You see what I'm saying? Look. Dick Cheney. Look at the dates when he needed it. Look when Trayvon died. Go to when Trayvon died. Right here. February 26. He was 17 from the Miami Garden. Guess what you see? Don't you see the arch? Freemasonry? Just like Kenneka had to die, give away her organs. You see what I'm saying? If you go watch his, if you go watch his whole murder case, now you will see why. Cause of this shit. Cause it is. Look, President Obama, he talked about it. Let's see what he made.
Well, I want to come out here, first of all, to tell you that Jay is prepared for all your questions and is very much looking forward to the session. Second thing is, I want to let you know that over the next couple of weeks, there are going to obviously be a whole range of issues, immigration, economics, et cetera. We'll try to arrange a fuller press conference to address your questions. The reason I actually wanted to come out today is not to take questions, but to speak to an issue that obviously has gotten a lot of attention over the course of the last week, the issue of the Trayvon Martin ruling. I gave a preliminary statement right after the ruling on Sunday, but watching the debate over the course of the last week, I thought it might be useful for me to expand on my thoughts a little bit. First of all, I want to make sure that once again I send my thoughts and prayers, as well as Michelle's, to the family of Trayvon Martin, and to remark on the incredible grace and dignity with which they've dealt with the entire situation. I can only imagine what they're going through, and it's remarkable how they've handled it. The second thing I want to say is to reiterate what I said on Sunday, which is there are going to be a lot of arguments about the legal issues in the case. I'll let all the legal analysts and talking heads address those issues. The judge conducted the trial in a professional manner. The prosecution and the defense made their arguments. The juries were properly instructed that in a case such as this, reasonable doubt was relevant, and they rendered a verdict. And once the jury's spoken, that's how our system works. But I did want to just talk a little bit about context and how people have responded to it and how people are feeling. You know, when Trayvon Martin was first shot, I said that this could have been my son. Another way of saying that is,
but you don't got no son. But you don't got no son. Check this out. Do y'all know why Obama is even speaking up on this? You want to know why Obama is even speaking up on this stuff, bro? Cause he got something to hide. He know about human trafficking. This the president. You see what I'm saying? This what Kenneka showed me. This ain't just no murder case. Let's go find Snook and Ray just to serve soft. No, this what the Bible means. You going against people in high places in principalities, bruh. You see what I'm saying? Did y'all see that movie when they had that dude look like Obama? I'm dead serious. This how we caught up in our phones, bruh. These people got so much power. Let's go to Obama. Let's see what he had to say. And the whole time, he covered enough for who? Dick Cheney. If you look, check this out. If Obama won the presidency, cause we voted for him, how in the fuck he was going against Donald Trump? How he was going against Donald Trump and want everybody to go with Kamala Harris? He got a fraudulent birth certificate, and Kamala Harris got the same fucking narrative that Obama. Yeah, telling folks you ain't black. Obama's not black, bro. Kamala Harris tried to come off as a black lady. This lady is not black, bro. He ain't even no Hawaiian. Man, bruh, check this out. Check this out. Look at the reason why he had to speak up in the first place about Trayvon Martin. In the first place, if he a Mason, his dad is a 33-degree high-ranking Mason. You see what I'm saying? If these high-ranking Masons, they're gonna look out for each other, right?
Trayvon Martin could have been me 35 years ago. And when you think about why, in the African American community at least, there's a lot of pain around what happened here, I think it's important to recognize that the African American community is looking at this issue through a set of experiences and a history that that doesn't go away. You know, there are very few African American men in this country who haven't had the experience of being followed when they were shopping in a department store. That includes me. There are very, very few African American men who haven't had the experience of walking across the street and hearing the locks click on the doors of cars. That happens to me, at least before I was a senator. There are very few African Americans who haven't had the experience of getting on an elevator and a woman clutching her purse nervously and holding her breath until she had a chance to get off. That happens often. And
to bring to you the 41st president, a great dad, George H.W. Bush.
We all know his father, but what about his cousins? Check out this family tree, done with research by Ancestry.com. Vice President Dick Cheney, the man who's only a heartbeat away from the presidency, is actually a blood relation. He's President Bush's 9th cousin once removed. Cheney's cousin Barack Obama is also Bush's 11th cousin and the 9th cousin.
Oh, wait a minute. Now you see why he got to mention Trayvon Martin. I just dropped the link on my community wall. This is the 13th bloodline of Lucifer. The 13th bloodline of Lucifer. This is what the Bible speaks of. Check this out. Everybody forgot the Bible got a prophecy in it, and it's being fulfilled. And it's being so fulfilled that that's why they come with entertainment on our phone, so we won't see the prophecy fulfilled. Now you see why he's talking about Trayvon Martin.
I don't want to exaggerate this, but those sets of experiences inform how the African American community interprets what happened one night in Florida. And it's inescapable for...
He even looked like a blacker version of Bush. The black version. Golly, bro, I ain't never looked at it like that. Like, man, then when you do a fake comparison, oh yeah. Look at this shit. And then look.
Of Brad Pitt. But we're only just getting started. President Lincoln was President Bush's
Dad, George H.W. Bush.
We all know his father, but what about his cousins? Check out this family tree, done with research by Ancestry.com. Vice President Dick Cheney, the man who's only a heartbeat away from the presidency, is actually a blood relation. He's President Bush's 9th cousin once removed. Cheney's cousin Barack Obama is also Bush's 11th cousin and the 9th cousin of Brad Pitt. But we're only just getting started. President Lincoln was President Bush's 7th cousin 5 times removed, and Bush shared more than just a ballot with John Kerry. That's right, they're 9th cousins twice removed. There's also royalty in the Bush bloodline. Princess Diana was Bush's 11th cousin twice removed. And then there's this bombshell. Happy birthday! Sure, she may have been singing to JFK, but what about GWB? He is, after all, her 9th cousin 3 times removed. He's also related to Playboy founder Hugh Hefner, even Pocahontas, and Vlad the Impaler. Trace the family tree far enough, and you get Madonna, Celine Dion, and Tom Hanks.
It's running the United States and all over the world. This is a Bible that told you that when you come to the new world order, it's going to be a whore that stands in front of the city on many waters. That's the Statue of Liberty. She's the new Babylon. Everybody gonna lush after her seduction. And guess what we see? Hollywood, Megan Thee Stallion, all these idols that we
And the last one, number 44, and the one before that, 43, Bush and Obama. Well, there are pictures of Bush with his arm around 8-year-old Barack Obama because his stepdaddy, adopted daddy, Lolo Sotoro, had done a lifetime worth of business with the Bushes. Uncle George Herbert Walker, after whom George Herbert Walker Bush, Bush 1 president, was named, founded Halliburton in 1946 in Oklahoma. And Lolo Sotoro had been international executive vice president for Standard Oil.
There was talk of him being a CIA asset.
Well, yeah, see, he ran the death squads for the Indonesian army. On his own call, anyone could be assassinated. So when George Herbert Walker Bush became head of the CIA under the Ford administration, he just got with his old buddy in the oil business, Lolo Sotoro, and pulled off the hits. See, Barack's grandmother has been acknowledged as being the woman that operated the channels through which CIA money went to the Southwest Pacific. So she introduced her daughter, who had just had Barry, Barack, to Lolo Sotoro, and they got married, and Lolo Sotoro adopted Barack Obama. The name was changed to Barry Sotoro. Now, when he went to high school in Hawaii, I know about that high school. I almost sent my oldest son to it. I could afford it, but I didn't think he deserved it. 20 years ago, the tuition was $95,000 a year, not including room and board. When Obama went there, I've talked to 2 of his classmates. They independently state that the tuition, not including room and board, was $45,000. Now, Business Insider reports his income for 2017 at over $200 million net. That's after taxes, deductions, write-offs. For this last year, 2018, they reported it as $570+ million. And that's after all deductions, tax, right? Trump doesn't make that net. I mean, even some of the richest people in America don't make that. Why? Because when his stepdaddy died, he was one of the 10, 15 richest men on earth. And he left everything in a trust fund operated out of Indonesia, so the American government can't touch it. That makes Barack Obama 1/3 beneficiary for the assets of one of the 10, 15 richest men on earth. See, so we got a game run on us. So, you know that little thing that Bush W does when he gets with Michelle, they giggle and he gives her candy. The inside thing is that's supposed to be the same kind of candy he used to give to her husband when he was 6, 7, 8 years old.
Oh, wow.
So, you know, the Democrats, the Republicans, nobody's done much of anything for black folk. The Republicans have just been a write-off, but they're anxious for votes now. The Democratic Party, I mean, more power to them, but if you vote for the Democrats, you're giving the LGBTQ, etc., the end. So we get nothing out of it.
We are no longer the priority minority.
And then the other thing, too, is in about 30 years, there will no longer be a majority race in America, and we won't be the largest minority. It will be Hispanics,
we're
whites.
surpassed over 13.1% of
Did Joe Brown just say something? Oh man, look, we ain't gonna beat the majority. Cause think about this, all the presidents in your lifetime, you basically had family members in office going to war. Now I see why they going to war with Iran. Cause Iran speaks of the Bible, of the gods and the statues and the idols and all of this stuff. So all the presidents, when it came to Ronald Reagan, Bill Clinton, Obama, all of these people were related. All these people is related.
The Hispanics are 16.9%.
Yeah, well, they're increasing.
Yeah.
Now, in California, they're 54% of the population.
Okay.
So they're a majority in California. They're approaching that in Nevada and Arizona and New Mexico. Mm-hmm. So in Hawaii, there is no majority race, and everybody calls everybody cuz, and the politics there are completely different than they are in most states.
For people to bring those experiences to bear. The African American community is also knowledgeable that there is a history of racial disparities in the application of our criminal laws. Everything from the
So when you go back to the John F.K. assassination, look who was behind that, the CIA, and look who was running the CIA, the Bush family. Look who assassinated Martin Luther King and Malcolm X, the Bush administration up under the CIA. You see what I'm saying? Look how many of these bloodlines that done killed us, bruh. And they associated with the mob. And these are people that can come to us and like, yeah, we don't know what happened to Martin Luther King, Jerry Earl Ray, you know what I'm talking about. But if you listen to Joe Brown, right, Joe Brown was giving it up. Martin Luther King wasn't killed by no Jane Earl Ray. Everybody know who was the head of the FBI at that time, who was the CEO of the CIA intelligence. The Bush family. Look at every last president was family members. Go back to all the presidents that were family, and you can trace these heritage back to Queen Elizabeth, the one that's in history talking about the slave trade in Europe. Let that sink in. So when you think about when they crucified Jesus and the 12 disciples went and wrote the 7 letters to the churches, look what happened. Look what happened. Look.
Get matched today with the tax expert who's just right for your situation. They'll do your taxes from start to finish. And
there you go with the piece of candy. Look. Look who you finna give it to. Obama. Michelle. They cousins. All family members. These is all family members. Look. Family member, family member, family member, family member, and married into the royal family.
We already have people in here.
The death penalty to enforcement of our drug laws. And that ends up having an impact in terms of how people interpret the case. Now, this isn't to say that the African American community is naive about the fact that African American young men are disproportionately involved in the criminal justice system, that they're disproportionately both victims and perpetrators of violence. It's not to make excuses for that fact, although black folks do interpret the
Interest was was influences with the
some of the
to get those removed, and how would it benefit you if you did remove them? Today we have a very special guest, Cheryl Beck, and Cheryl has been a victim of MK Ultra. Now I know that when we think of MK Ultra, we think of just like, let me speak for myself. It's like thinking of having machines hooked up to your head and all this, stuff that we see on TV. But I think that a lot of people underestimate the realness of MK Ultra and the effects that it have on people. So I am very fortunate to be able to interview a woman who has experienced MK Ultra firsthand, and she's gonna talk to us about it and give us some very exquisite details. But before we get started, could you, Cheryl, welcome to the show. Could you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I'm a retired RN. I spend my days in Arizona in the highlands, taking care of my grandbabies and having a great time doing that. I'm single, and I work to teach people about MK Ultra, satanic ritual abuse, and child trafficking, because I was involved in all three of those.
Could you tell us a little bit more about, I know that the MK Ultra is like a broad thing and it's expanded from one level to the other. So let's kind of focus in, for right now at least, for the type of MK Ultra that was used on you. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. So I was born in 1961 to what they call a bloodline Luciferian family, aka Illuminati in modern lingo, but they are Luciferians. With that, they start what they call trauma-based mind control. When the child can understand directions and do what they're trying to do. So what they do is they traumatize the child to split the personality and create what they call alters or alter identities. It's now known as dissociative identity disorder. It used to be called multiple personality disorder. So they use trauma to break the child's mind. They usually, for all MK Ultra, usually it's ages 6 and under. And the basis of that was George Estabrook wrote a book called Hypnosis back in the late 40s. And he wanted MK Ultra to be undetectable and the trauma to be undetectable in the child's personality. And before a child is 6, their personality is not developed. So if anything changes with the personality, people on the outside don't really recognize it.
Oh, wow. So you said that they introduced trauma, and then I want to get back to the bloodline. But if you can explain this real quick, what type of trauma do they use? Or if you don't mind telling us what type of trauma was used on you?
Okay. It's any inescapable type trauma where you're strapped down, you're in a cage, you're restrained in any type of manner, put in a coffin, buried, sensory deprivation, things like that, where you have no escape. And then they will torture with electroshock, with sexual abuse, with cutting you, all kinds of different ways of traumatizing the child. So at the age of 2, when De Familia, or the family that I was born into in the bloodline, wanted to create the first altar for their ritual abuse, they strapped me down on an altar, and our high priest was my pediatrician.
What are these things that we're doing right now that are really, we need to stop?
Just stop eating for a little while. Like some people haven't gone an entire 12 hours, their whole life not eating. Allow your body to go into recycle mode. And when you go a day 2, research shows out of UCLA, day 3, you activate your body's natural recycling system. It's called autophagy, and it's incredible. It puts you into recycling. So very good for fighting aging, fighting cancer, fighting disease.
The real reason why fasting makes a massive impact on your immunity.
And I knew him as Herr Doctor. These people were of German descent. I believe Herr Doctor was a paperclip doctor, Nazi. They strapped me down on the altar and he took a meat cleaver and chopped off the end of my thumb.
Oh, I mean, what was your parents' involvement in all this?
My father was fully involved and fully knowledgeable of what was going on. My mom was non-compliant, and therefore she was also traumatized and programmed, also drugged at night when we children were taken out of the house. So she was totally non-compliant, and she was given post-hypnotic suggestions where she wouldn't see our injuries or remember them or anything like that.
Wow. So when you say that you were born into the family, I know you touched on it a little bit, but let's get more into that so we can all get a clear understanding of what you mean by that.
Okay. There are 13 bloodlines that control the world. They're all Luciferians. People know them in modern lingo as the Illuminati, but it's an actual entity of quote unquote elites that run the world. I was born into one of those 13 bloodlines. It's called the Merovingian bloodline. It traces its roots back to the 1400s and beyond that. So my ancestry came through Friedrich Wilhelm II of Prussia. Mm-hmm. And therefore, we were associated with a Rosicrucian fellowship that was directly the international connection to that family.
So I had watched this whole interview, and everything what that lady said, it make a lot of sense to me. Cause them the people that's gonna be in office are the royal bloodline. If you look at the royal bloodline, think about the people that crucified Jesus. The people that crucified Jesus weren't none but the Germans, the Europeans, the Italians. You know what I'm saying? Them the people that crucified Jesus with the help of Iran. With the help of Iran. That's why the war is still going on in Iran and in Israel. If you look what's going on in Israel right now, go read your Bible, what the Bible said, what's finna happen in Israel. It's a prophecy finna be fulfilled. The Romans, the Catholics, them the people that crucified Jesus, and these the same people in our office. This is why we got holidays of Queen Elizabeth. This is why we got all these holidays of the kings and queens that they done told us, these the kings and the queen, that's our founding fathers of the president. All these people is under the same 13 royal bloodlines. See what I'm saying? This is why you don't see these people go to church. You don't see them in it. Then when they do go to a church, it's always got to be a Catholic church or where the Pope at. And they rarely speak of Jesus. They'll tell you about God, but not Jesus. It's in the Bible. Revelation, it speaks who's going to be the black horse, the pale horse, the white horse, the green horse, and what color it symbolized. Once you go back and see who the horses is, this is why Kena Jenkins brought me here, because I'm like, man, look, They done killed that girl and sacrifice. It just said like, if you got a person that's committing bank robbery, you looking for a bank robber. If you looking for somebody that OD'd on the dope and you trying to find out where this dope come from, you gonna trace it back to a dope man. To a middleman, to a dope man, right? If you, what you think you finna trace back to sacrifice a murder that normal people don't kill like this? You see what I'm saying? So, if Obama is Dick Cheney's cousin, they related, right? Proven. Now you see why he got to speak up on the Trayvon Martin case. See that? So basically, he looking out for his cousin. And make it so bad, the Bible tell you who the 13. Look, this the cold part about the Bible tells you who these people is. You shouldn't be around here acting like you don't see these people. You holding a device in your hand. These people wake you up every morning with breaking news and murders and tragedy. No, I don't never see nobody go viral just by being smart. You go viral when it go to a killing. Listen to what this lady said. Everything what this lady finna say, go back and read the Bible, especially in Revelation. And guess who? And guess how they finna run the world and Jesus coming back.
Okay. So at what point did because this is just crazy. Like, at what point did your mom realize that your dad was involved in this kind of stuff?
Well, she never really realized. We were taken. First, we had to join the Lutheran Church when I was 2 and my sister was 4. When all this began. My mom wasn't raised in a Christian home. She was raised by a spiritualist mom on a farm, and her mom was well known in that community for her spiritualism and consulting and things like that. My father had this cover of being Lutheran, so we joined this church. I heard the gospel of Jesus. I loved hearing about Jesus. And I already at 2, I already had a bad picture of myself because they start at birth abusing you, telling you you're ugly, dumb, just all kinds of things like that to cause trauma in your life and an altered self-identity. They want you malleable so they can create whatever they want to create. So we joined the church, they sprinkle baptized me, and we were members of this Lutheran church that was simply a front for the family. And
let me just say this before I forget. Ain't this strange that King Rob and them were mentioning when it come to the modern family, they keep it in the family, it's a bunch of incest going on. So why this lady saying the same thing about the higher ups? And we know the higher ups breed in their family and keep it in the family. I had to throw that out there, bro.
So the whole elder board was made up of family members. And they controlled the church. They brought in compliant pastors or pastors that were part of the bloodline. And you did not hear the gospel of Jesus Christ in the sermons. It was more like a motivational type of sermon. Talk about honesty, talk about, things like that. Never much about Jesus. So in starting in that church, we went to Sunday school and we would have our lessons and learn the Bible and learn about Jesus. After Sunday school, in the late afternoons, we were taken out to a farm and we were tortured for that Sunday school lesson in the morning. So we would deny Christ and accept Lucifer or Satan
Y'all remember when we used to go to church? They used to start it off with the prayer and then the Legion of Flags. Then they started taking prayer out of school, religions out of school. Remember that? I remember when I used to go to school, we used to start out school with prayer first. They took prayers out of school. They took Jesus' name out of school. And you want to know why these Freemasons in power? Because they teach us everything when we go to school. The Freemason gave these teachers literature and taught these people how to teach us. And then when we go home from school, now we got to deal with the TV, showing our favorite cartoon shows and keep this system rolling. You see what I'm saying? So now look, check this out.
As the stronger God. So it was the same people teaching us in the morning that were torturing us in the evening.
You said they would take you all out and torture you. So how many kids were they doing this to at one time?
There was usually at least 10 children. We didn't all go in the same vehicle. It was the different families driving out to this farm. It was mostly the children. They do, the bloodline families do this to every single child they have, the trauma-based mind control.
Well, I guess I was kind of confused at first because I'm thinking like, so you got families that are willingly doing this to their own kids.
Absolutely.
No, I didn't. I'm gonna tell you the truth. I didn't know that. I never knew that side of that they were that many families doing this to their own kids. So they involved you in like satanic rituals and things like that?
Right.
Could you go through that with us for, in as much detail as you're willing to?
Yeah, well, satanic ritual abuse, there's usually some kind of ritual, usually some kind of sacrifice, either animal or human, or an abortion or something like that when they do the rituals. They do abortion rituals because there's a doctor, a nurse, and everything like that. And that's like the perfect, pure sacrifice to Satan to do abortions. So that happened.
And then once you think about it, it was all rumored that Kenneka supposed to have been pregnant too. You know what I'm talking about? Because you got to think about it. A lot of little girls before they get 19 be having babies and stuff. But you know what I'm talking about? Kenneka could have been pregnant at that time. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I just remember they said that. So since I remember they said that, and I'm like, why is it just a big thing if this girl was pregnant? It's got to be something behind it. And when I listen to this, it kind of make you think.
Because that when they do the rituals, they do abortion rituals because there's a doctor, a nurse, and everything like that. And that's like the perfect, pure sacrifice to Satan to do abortions. So that happened a lot. And, they...
I couldn't believe my grandma was missing out on this too.
I was taken out of my house by my father putting chloroform over my face, taking me out. My older sister was taken. My younger sister was a chosen child. She got my father's blue eyes, so she wasn't taken out very much to these rituals. So for instance, they would do a ritual to conjure demons, to get powers. There's usually a sacrifice of an animal or a human being, and then.
So when they come to what Gina McGill was telling Zach TV, they even got a pet mortuary too. So that lets you know it's a lot of animal sacrificing as well. I'm digging so deep into this game, cause guess what Joey Staggs mentioned in his old interview? Yeah, I was running a dog brothel with prostitutes, and you know what I'm saying? You could come and see dogs have sex with prostitutes. You see what I'm saying? I can pull up the Joey stats. If you've been following me, everything what I'm telling you, I already showed you this. This supposed to be like, oh my God, this so mind-blowing. God damn, I ain't know this rabbit hole with this deep, but this what you asked for. Look, didn't make it so bad. Trey ain't know where the hospital is. Right behind the movie theaters. It's a whole surgeon building right there. I showed you that on Google Maps. So when you put two and two together, like that's why all those doctors be performing harvesting on the black market at these hotels that's close. This where a lot of celebrities get their kidneys done, their livers. This where a lot of missing people will come through and chop the body parts up. Cause you already know, the Fed watch it, so you can't do this at funeral homes and you can't do this at hospitals and stuff. The perfect place that disguise this is at a hotel. It's at a hotel. It won't look so suspicious. You know what I'm saying? Look.
And they would, the demons would be summoned up in the circle. They'd get their powers or knowledge or whatever they were seeking with that particular ritual. And then after the sacrifice, there's a blood orgy that occurs. And then after the blood orgy, then the cleanup ensues. Leave no evidence is very, very important because they will kill you if you leave evidence behind. So their thing is leave no evidence of the ritual occurring.
What is a Nazi paperclip project? Well, what is that?
Okay, the OSS and that later became the CIA, excuse me. They brought over at the end of World War II, our government brought over Nazi scientists like Werner von Braun, who was, NASA and built the first, rocket and all that. So they brought all these Nazi doctors and scientists and people over to the United States so they could incorporate them into our government. They wanted to learn their secrets, their technology. At the same time, they also brought in bloodline family members because they wanted to learn the trauma-based mind control that they had been practicing for centuries. And so they brought in the bloodline families, and it all became one big entity that included all three of them. And that way they could learn all the secrets. And they signed a non-investigation, non-prosecution agreement among them. And so our modern day CIA is that entire entity altogether. And that's why they do things like global trafficking of guns and humans and everything else.
That's why the police dropping guns off in the neighborhood for the gangs to find it. Because the gangs be like, ooh, we just hit a lick, we found guns. And they say, it's just a mind thing so they could go shoot up the ops. But guess what? You would have police would do drive-bys and unmarked police car, and the gang would think that that's their arrival. So it just hyping up the war even more. So now look, bro, what they did was, once you think about what they taught you in school, how America was founded by our president, founder, and we know they all Freemasonry. So now since we know they Freemason, they are part of that bloodline. They are part of that bloodline. So they came to America because this supposed to be the new world. We just crucified Jesus. He dead. So let's cover his murder up and let's go to the United States and fool everybody over there. You see what I'm saying? So, make a long story short, they ran the presidents They made our laws. We paying taxes. We work for them. We really living up Hunter Satan rules. Cause not one day in life that you actually living according to how God wants you to live. He said don't eat the swine, but these people got #1 swine on sale. Come to the fast food. We got a new Big Buford. What? New Big Buford, bitch? Yeah, give me some lobsters, steaks, all of this. And paying money for this. And once you go to the slave pictures, check this out. This finna open up your mind. If Africa was already civilized, right? Civilized. They was already wearing clothes. They was already hip, you know what I'm saying, the way of life in this system. But it was the people that was in the jungle, living in the woods. That's why when you see the white man going in the woods, that's who he took slave, little small tribes, not the civilized people. Because if you living in today's world, think about this here. If they were still living in the days back then, look at today's term. We civilized, right? If a white man go over there in Africa right now and grab those naked people out the forest, bring them over here and put them in the circus like, yeah, who are the real Amazon people? Guess how many black people finna go and pay and see those Amazon people that they got enslaved? You see what I'm saying? They didn't enslave nobody with suits and ties on, with shoes and all of this. And then they didn't even have to make them enslaved. They could have just came and told them, look, man, you ain't got to do none of this. Man, look, we finna give you housing. We'll pay your rent every month. You know what I'm talking about? We'll give you all of this. I'm just saying. Cause think about if we weren't meat eaters, look what we'll be eating. Beans, berries, lettuce, no high blood pressure, no cancer, no none of that. Man, look, we won't even feel so tired. Cause when you eat meat, you're ready to go to sleep. You see what I'm saying? Just think about pancakes. Man, you could eat a couple of pancakes with some syrup on that giant. Man, you could be full for damn near for the rest of the day. No wonder why they were like, in the Bible, they were like, yes, can I prepare you hot cakes? Hot cake, that sound like pancake. Them folk been had pancakes. You know what I'm talking about? So look.
Right, so these are the same people running it. So it's bigger than just MK Ultra. Do they use handlers?
Yes. So a handler is somebody that knows what programs have been put into you. That there's a system based on Greek letters: alpha, beta, delta, epsilon, those kind of things. And so they'll create a master program for each subject in MK Ultra, especially Project Monarch that I was in, where they create the altars, and somebody possesses the handbook, the workbook, so to speak, of all your triggers, of the different personalities, and the handler is present in your life on a day-to-day basis to manage you and to make sure that the memories that they work so hard to put behind the amnestic walls don't break through into your day-to-day life. So you basically have a day life where you think that you're living a rather normal life, but you don't remember what happens on weekends and nights and things like that.
Wow. Let's get into what is the whole, I mean, you know, the whole overall purpose of using MK Ultra on people?
They wanted to create the perfect assassins.
When a bright young congressman arrives in Washington, they quickly discover a harsh reality. To keep their job or have any real influence, they need to raise money, a lot of money. So they spend countless hours dialing for dollars, day in and day out. But there's a darker, easier path. Dark money.
Who they could literally call somebody up on a phone that's living a normal suburban housewife, okay? Let's just say that. Normal suburban housewife gets a phone call and they'll give them a code. They switch into an altar that's an assassin. They hit a button in their house and you know, the wall turns around and there's all these guns or whatever. And then they can go out, assassinate somebody, and then they'll switch back out of that altar and go back to being a suburban housewife.
And when she say things like that, that's why a lot of those rappers be getting assassinated. And the last one they be with is their girlfriends. So if you look at some of these rappers, you know, they could be trolled by these females who they got set up with. You know Hollywood be staging relationships and marriage and stuff. When you think about that, I think about when with P. Diddy. All those tunnels leading from P. Diddy house to different mansions all over the block. That's why that's why they designed all that shit there, bruh. You see what I'm saying? I'm still thinking about the P. Diddy case, because when it come to the P. Diddy case, it's the same thing when it come to the Kenneka Jenkins case. Look how many Kenneka Jenkins would be that was involved in the P. Diddy case. They ended up in the morgue, cremated, harvested, you know what I'm saying? They sold on the black market. I'm just saying, everybody know Hollywood been doing this. Check this out. This the cold part about it. Everybody know Hollywood is a pedophile industry. All the music studio is a pedophile industry and demon worshipings. So if everything they promote, lush, drunken, promoting drugs, look at all the rap music, even the love songs ain't even love songs no more. Ain't nothing up on the new sun. Man, these people still got a religion. We ain't the only one that wake up and go to church every Sunday. What you think the demons, what day they go worship? Look when they go to church, when it's time to praise Lucifer. That's the cold part about it. You mean to tell me I could ride all these streets and see all these churches? Maybe that's why they put all those churches on those street corners to make it like, yeah, this a holy city. Just so you won't see where those devil churches at. Pay attention next time you just ride and travel. See how many devil's facilities you will see.
And not know what happened. So if you're put under a lie detector test, you're not going to know what happened. You'll pass it, no problem.
Wow. So when you see things on the news like school shootings or even the assassination attempts on Trump, did you notice any signs of MK Ultra? Did you detect any of that, or what?
Look, I'm detecting that now when it come to the Rifle Association, when it come to the Trayvon Martin case. You see what I'm saying? Do you see MK Ultra all over the Trayvon Martin case? MK Ultra at its finest. At its finest. Look.
What were your thoughts on that?
Yes. Bill Cooper wrote the book, Behold a Pale Horse. I recommend everybody read that. But school shooters were a thing in the MK Ultra program, people. They go out and they do this shooting. A lot of them will then take their life right afterwards. That's what most of us are supposed to do is take our life if we actually do something that big, so that there's no questioning, there's no loose ends.
Oh, y'all ain't never read the book of Peril of the Horse? If you read that, John, I know, I see somebody say they read that, John. You know that's a powerful book. Cause when I first read that book, I was in jail. That was the biggest talked about book in the jail. They had to take that book out the jail, bruh. Look, this what blew my mind. They was talking about the scroll man. Well, how the way you break the scroll man down when it comes to the birth certificate. So look, when you go to school, right? Man, look, we was kids. I remember these people used to give us a survey and ask us personal questions, what's going on in the household. Simple questions. How many people in your house smoke? Let's say your mama might smoke or your daddy might smoke, my dad and my mama. You know what I'm saying? Have you ever smoked? You see what I'm saying? Think about those questions they asking your kids. Oh yeah, how many people have you ever seen drugs before? Man, these people doing surveys and asking personal questions what goes on in the household, spying on us. Then they got TV to keep the camera rolling and listen to all your reactions. Check this out. How come these people know everything that's going on in the black household, but you don't know everything that go on in the household? Everybody, even different races, could tell you, yeah, this a black family by the way they act. But you can't say the same thing about an Indian. Or, you know what I'm saying, man? Cause you don't know. You don't know how these people living. It look crazy. You wouldn't understand. Man, them white folk was studying us, bruh. Look at back in those days, white people couldn't even dance 30 years ago. Man, you will fall out your seat and look at those white folk dancing back in those days. All rhythm, all beat. And next thing you know, when we showed them how to boogie woogie, goddamn, them folk like, damn. So they was like, this how the school system designed, cause they finna program the child. They finna teach you came from a monkey. Did everybody learn that in school? They told us we came from monkeys. They folk call us monkeys, kids. Real talk. Then they said Christopher Columbus discovered America, so you automatic thinking like, oh, so American was born, so it started all in the 1600s. No. Check this out. Make it so bad, they even took the globe out of school. But these folk took the globe out of school, because I remember when I used to go to church, and when you opened up a Bible back in those days, it had a map on that giant. I was infatuated with the map. You know what I'm saying? So them folk like, take the globe out and let's you know what I'm talking about? No, fuck that. So I'm seeing the system, how they built for us. The system is so simple. Only thing they did was just came over here, bought the land, built all the roads, the streets, and got everybody to come over here and works to pay taxes on this land to maintain it. That's all why they keep running it. So we get up and put our health and risk, busting our ass for a little paycheck. And if you come to your senses, you really don't even none of that. Because a lot of females know how to do hair. They can start their own career just by doing hair, using their talent, do hair. Every man should know how to work a hammer. And you know how to use tools. Maybe he won't have to pay nobody to build something for him or fix this for him. You see what I'm saying? It don't take money. You see what I'm saying? It don't even take money. Man, look. Man, check this out. You could get you a house. Check this, you could build your own house. Back in those days, black men built their own houses. Bought the land and built their house on their land from square. Knocked all the wood down, got his own timber, nail, bam, bam, bam. Then when he fixed the house, he put a garden in that motherfucker. He got his own peppers, lettuce, goddamn it, potatoes, watermelon. He got his own fucking garden. He might go to the store and probably buy some some spices or something, or some flour or something. You know what I'm talking about? But he already got everything there that he need, and look how much money he was spending. Because I believe in heaven, we gonna have no jobs in heaven. Ain't nobody gonna be working at no, come to our new clinic over here. Yeah, come to these studios now. Everybody gonna be in the garden. Everybody gonna be in the garden, just like living on the beach 24/7. Hell yeah, you know, I'm enjoying the beach. Let me go in the jungle. You ain't got to fear animals, you know what I'm talking about? If you was scared of bees, you ain't gonna be scared of them no more. But I'm just saying, go read the Behold of the Pale Horse by Bill Cooper. He told about the UFOs, how the angels would come down here. Keep this in mind, these fallen angels, they come, when y'all see the UFO, y'all see what shape people always said, what shape this UFO is. Go in the Bible. Man, them folks saw the same goddamn thing. That's how the wheel was invented, because of the UFO and what these people came down here on, bro. That's how the wheel was invented. You see what I'm saying? These people don't want to give you the real truth. This is like, I ain't even know, goddamn it, railroad track was a big thing in Africa. In Iraq, you don't even think about rail systems. But look, these the people that running the world now. It's the 13th royal bloodline, and they all Freemasonry and Illuminatis.
They can't discover the person is in a mind-controlled trance. Well, like Sirhan that tried to, that actually did assassinate Robert F. Kennedy Sr., he still doesn't remember it to this day. And Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has fought to get him freed from prison because he believes that Sirhan was under MK Ultra mind control.
Wow. So what were they, do you know what the intent was for you? And did it work?
Oh yeah. The intent for me was to become a seductress, spy, assassin. And they started this programming. Need to skip forward a little bit. My step-grandfather was OSS CIA. He was my father's.
What if I told you all of the protein bars you've been eating are not actually that healthy for you? Yeah, I started checking ingredients on
family handler, but he was also in the OSS CIA. So we had my father sign my older sister and I up for MK Ultra when we were 4 and 6. So the first programming they started with me was called Sexy Sadie. And it was basically a 4-year-old seductress for both men and women. I need to back that up.
So they teach kids, look, they teach 4-year-old kids seduce men and women. If you go back to that slave movie called Birth of a Nation, no, Uncle Tom Cabinet, bruh. Uncle Tom Cabinet had a white man was standing there with a house full of slave girls. He had a black nanny, and the nanny used to come in there and pick out the virgins for him. So what she finna do is send her in there naked to seduce him. Just say like, you know you a pedophile, right? So you got the nanny bringing her in there for you to naked just to tempt you. Let's look up Uncle Tom's Cabin. Bro, I'm so glad that this lady said that shit, bro. Cause these people show us in our face. Hold on. Uncle Tom Cabin. Hold on. I want the real movie. Let's go to this. Hold on, is this it? Ain't the Uncle Tom Cabin? Hold on, is this it? No, this ain't it. That ain't what I'm looking for. I'm looking for that, Oh, that ain't that what I'm looking for. Not that Uncle Tom Cabin. I got to find that John gang. Let me find that John, and I'm gonna get back to that.
They create what they call an alpha altar first. And the alpha altar was created in me. The very first MK Ultra mind control was actually Joseph Mengele. And they took me to Little Girl Point, which is on the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. And it was a cliff. And they want to teach the child how to dissociate on command. So what they did was, after he systematically raped me, dislocated my arms and legs, me, put me back together, they sent me down a mining sluice with a rope around my neck on a cliff. And I flew over Lake Superior into the water at night. So it's ice cold water. It feels like, shattered glass shards are going into your body, knocks the wind out of you, everything else. They wanted that sensation of me flying when he gave me a command for little girl, which was the alpha altar. And then they reeled me back up the other side of the cliff. So from the alpha altar, then they start creating, they'll call out little girl first, and then they'll create all the beta, delta, and so on and so forth, altars out of little girl.
I am so sorry. I may have missed the part because I'm getting so caught up in what you're telling me, and it's really shocking. So did I miss the part about, or did you ever mention what was the purpose? What did they want from you?
Okay, they want to create spies, assassins, seductresses for blackmail, top secret couriers, all these undetectable people doing these special assignments for the covert ops side of our government. And they do that in order that there will be no scrutiny. It'll be just some anonymous citizen that goes and does these things, and they don't know they're doing it. So, for instance,
young people are facing serious financial challenges. I mean, it's messed up, but my dad found this.
The Las Vegas shooting, Stephen Paddock was an MK Ultra patsy. He was a gun runner. That's what his job was. And
y'all remember the Las Vegas shooting? Las Vegas mass shooting. Y'all remember that? And look when this happened. Look when this happened though. Hold up. December 2018.
Grounds tell a
That's
tragic.
when they did the documentary. Let's go to 7 years ago. October the 2nd, 2017.
Get down. Get down. Get down. Get down. Get down. Get down. Stop.
Now, when I saw this, I knew something was wrong.
And what they did with the Las Vegas shooting was set him up in a hotel room. He really never even got a shot off. They just killed him. And there's a couple things about that. He was 64 years old. And 64, you're either going to stay in willingly or they're going to take you out because you're becoming a liability. And he was becoming a liability. He was having to take a lot of psychiatric meds. He was remembering things in the middle of the night, and his girlfriend, I'm pretty sure, was his handler. So they set him up to take him out.
So, I'm asking you this for a very specific reason, because I did an interview with another guy that spoke about this same situation in the same shooter that you mentioned. Do you know what his specific mission was on that day?
He thought he was going to go be a shooter. My son actually worked for the police department at the time, and they got the actual FBI photographs of that hotel room and not what was released to the public. What was released to the public was totally staged, totally impossible. The body was neatly laid down and everything else. It was just staged photograph to release to the public.
What is it? I don't know.
Man, these people could stage events. They could do whatever. They got the power. Stage events, bro. Look, this is the Trayvon Martin case. Look what happened. President Obama talking about Nick Rahman. You know what I'm saying? The project's an excellent journal. So when you go all the way down, they're going to come back to what? The National Gun Association. Back to the goddamn Egyptian, bro. Egypt. Revolution. Look, read it. Then look, let's go to this. Kendra Johnson there. It's organ missing, and this, look, guess who needed the organ transplant when he died? When he died. So I said, oh, it would make sense why all his organ would be missing. So I was like, let me look into this. Ryan Sinkerton. So I said, wait a minute, I'm on to something. It's a pattern. So let me go to this. We call it Jelani Day. I got all this stuff pulled up, bro. I've been doing research night and day, went over this stuff. Like, man, look, this stuff is all big business, bro. This is all big business. Y'all just don't know how big business this is. Boom. Look. Here go all the celebrities. Needed kidneys donations. You know what I'm talking about? Kidney donations. Kidney donations. Kidney donations. Damn, do the whole Hollywood need livers and kidney transplants? They got to tell you something. Damn. They're just like one household. If you got damn near 5 people in one household, that means 5 out of those 5, 3 of them gonna need kidney transplants or liver transplant. Come on now. I see why they need them. She need 2 kidney transplants. So why every time when they talk about her kidney, they always got this bitch on the side? Yeah, make it official that I got that kidney from you. Come on, put an X mark on her face. You see what I'm saying? Why you don't look? You don't see nobody else? You don't see nobody else with their organ donor, but mysteriously Selena Gomez. Come on, bruh. This just to show you that they had something to hide about this lady, bruh.
Stephen Paddock had been shot before he ever set up anything to do any shooting.
Okay, because I've heard different stories about what the purpose of that was and who was the targets? Do you know any inside information on that? Who the target was for that day? Because I know they shot. It was a police ended up getting killed that day, and that's really who I'm referring to. Do you know if he was a target or if just it was coincidental that he ended up getting hit?
There was a lot going on in Las Vegas that night. The mass shooting was a cover, I understand from my sources, was a cover for assassination attempt on Mohammed bin Salman, is that his name, from Saudi Arabia?
Now you see how Saudi Arabia coming into play, Israel. Look, do you see when it comes to the games now, especially boxing, man, these people be having ringside seats. They the one that be funding the promotion fight videos. Look, it was some shit that I heard about Hassan Hussein. I didn't even know this about Hassan Hussein. They said in those ancient temples over there in Iraq, don't y'all know those ancient temples and those palaces? Guess what they used to do in those palaces? Just say like Saddam had a palace and he had pet lions and he only fed lions kids and women. Kids and women. They said they got a shark tank in their wall and they throw humans in the shark tank and watch the shark eat them. I ain't know that shit was that going down. These people said they take these people in these tombs and do these rituals, sacrifice, clean up the evidence, and dispose the body through a meat grinding thing, like crush all the bones and then once you think about the movie 300 again, this why the United States is trying to bomb Iraq. They could bomb it all they want. You ain't never seen an Iraq army. You might seen a soldier. You ain't never seen no Iraq. When they go to war, you don't even see the military people who they shooting. You don't even see no actually war. You just all gonna just see them in the trench shooting from a long distance, getting popped right back out. You see what I'm saying? They said Iranian. If you go back into the book of Genesis, all those gods, like the Pharaoh, when the Bible speaks of how Pharaoh and them was out there playing God, them were the Iranians. Them statues is after their likeness. You see what I'm saying? They statues after they lightning. They look. I didn't even know the Iranians was breeding with the Germans. That's why an Iranian look like a German. Look. Even though you can see the Iranian features, but you can see the German in them. So I was like, oh, okay, I gotta go to the world Google map on this one. So if you look at where Iraq is on the borderline where the Caucasian and the Illinois, you know what I'm saying, and all of this. So if you look at Africa, Israel, and Italy, all them segregated, because all the black people is in Africa, all the Iranian is in Babylon, and all the white people is over there. So the world is really segregated. You know what I'm saying? So basically, who gonna be on the eastern part, on the western part of the world? Mexicans. In Indonesian people, you know what I'm saying? The indigenous people. The Indians, the natives, that's the western world. They on the eastern world. These is the eastern world people. You see what I'm saying? So you got Africa, Israel people come from the east. You got the west. There's gonna be the United States with all the Indians and all of this old stuff. Brazil, all of this, the Mexicans, and you know what I'm talking about, all this stuff. So you would see, like, oh, when they come to race mixing, who were playing God and built all those statues. Because when you look at, who was the one that was like, yeah, don't never shave your beard. It's all Iranians got beards, right? There's a part of this. They can't shave their beard and be naked face, bruh. I didn't even know some of this stuff till I looked it up. And guess who? I would have never found him if I didn't find him that got something to do with the Kena Jenkins case. That's how much I dig deep into it, because I dig to his family tree. Once I got to his family tree, his people is these people. These his people. You see what I'm saying? This the lady that did the autopsy report on Kenneka. Where she at? Everybody that I'm showing you had something to do with that girl case, bro. You can read this about it in the Kent, in Kenya. You can read about this. Kendra Johnson. And then look, let's read this. 21 evil doctors and nurses who were also serial killers. This is what David Friedman got in common with these people, bruh.
These angels of death, both evil doctors and evil nurses, took lives when they were supposed to be saving them. Thomas Cream. Thomas Neil Cream was a Scottish-Canadian doctor known as the Lambeth Poisoner. In the 1890s, he poisoned and killed a number of his patients while working in Chicago. Despite being convicted of poisoning a woman and being given life in prison, he had his sentence commuted after his brother bribed the governor of Illinois. He then traveled to London, where he poisoned and killed 5 hookers before he was arrested and executed in 1892. Wikimedia Commons. Jane Toppin. While working as a nurse in Massachusetts in the 1880s, Jane Toppin would give her elderly and infirm patients lethal doses of morphine and atropine and crawl into their beds to lie with them as they died. Toppin killed at least 31 victims before she was caught and committed to an asylum for the rest of her life. Wikimedia Commons. Shiro Ishii. Dr. Shiro Ishii was the director of Unit 731, the Department of Biological Weapons for the Imperial Japanese Army during World War II. Unit 731 would experiment on Chinese POWs and civilians, giving them deadly diseases and testing horrible biological weapons upon them. The unit would also perform vivisection on live prisoners and subject them to artificially induced strokes, heart attacks, frostbite, and hypothermia to track how they would die. Ishii avoided war crimes prosecution by turning the results of his experiments over to the U.S. ultimately. He died of throat cancer at the age of 67 in 1959. Wikimedia Commons. Advertising. H. Holmes. H. Holmes, sometimes called America's first serial killer, was a medical student and briefly practiced as a doctor in Pennsylvania before he killed between 9 and 27 people during the 1893 Chicago World's Fair. Holmes used the secret rooms he had built into his murder hotel, as well as his medical expertise, to easily kill and dispose of the bodies of his victims, the total of which could ultimately have reached 200. He was eventually hung for his crimes in 1896 and asked that he buried with a cement carrier so that grave robbers couldn't desecrate his remains. Wikimedia Commons. Marcel Petiot. Marcel Petiot was a doctor in Nazi-occupied France. He would tell his victims, people fleeing the Nazis in Europe, that he had an escape route out of Nazi territory before injecting them with deadly cyanide and stealing their valuables. He was captured and eventually tried and executed by guillotine in France in 1946, Bettman/Getty Images. George Chapman. George Chapman was a Polish doctor who moved to London in 1888. Once there, Chapman took 4 mistresses, despite having a wife back in Poland. He poisoned all 4 of these women with arsenic, killing them. Chapman was also suspected by the police as a possible Jack the Ripper suspect, but was eventually dismissed. Chapman was executed for his crimes in 1903. Wikimedia Commons. Gwen Graham and Kathy Wood. Gwen Graham and Kathy Wood were a pair of nurses' aides at a nursing home in Michigan who began killing their patients as part of a love bond that they shared. They killed 5 victims by smothering them to prove their love to one another. Authorities eventually captured the pair, and they were put behind bars in 1989. Police photo. Morris Balbier. Dr. Morris Balbier was a Russian-Jewish immigrant doctor in Pennsylvania in the 1930s. Using his medical expertise and mob connections, he would poison women's husbands for a fee. He and the Philadelphia poison ring killed 30 to 50 people. Balbier was finally arrested in 1939. Wikimedia Commons. Joseph Mengele. Joseph Mengele was the head doctor at the Nazis' Auschwitz concentration camp. He would help decide which prisoners were gassed and would perform horrifying experiments, including injections to the eye to change its color, limb amputation, and worse, on other prisoners, many of whom he ended up killing for the purposes of his research. After the Holocaust, he escaped to South America, where he lived out the rest of his days before drowning to death after suffering a stroke while swimming at the age of 67 in 1979. Wikimedia Commons. Linda Burfield Hazard. Linda Hazard was an American doctor during the early 20th century who promoted fasting as a treatment for all ailments. As a result, more than 40 patients died of starvation at her sanitarium in Washington, dubbed Starvation Heights by the locals. She was eventually convicted of manslaughter in 1912 and served 2 years in prison. In 1938, she died of starvation herself. Wikimedia Commons. Miyuki Ishikawa. Miyuki Ishikawa was a midwife in Tokyo in the late 1940s when she allowed at least 103 of the babies in her care to die because she believed that their parents were too poor to raise them. She received just 4 years in prison for her crimes. Wikimedia Commons. Advertising. Lane's Angels of Death. Irene Lidolf, top left, Valtraud Wagner, top right, Stephanie Meyer, bottom left, and Maria Gruber, bottom right, known as the Lane's Angels of Death, were a group of nurses' aides in Lanes, Austria in the 1980s. Together, they killed dozens of patients in their care by giving them overdoses of morphine or by forcing water into their lungs. Each was convicted and given at least 15 years in prison, although all 4 had been released by 2008 police photo. John Bodkin Adams. Between the 1940s and 50s, British Dr. John Bodkin Adams was accused of killing off hundreds of wealthy patients, many of whom had left him something in their will. He was eventually brought to trial but was never convicted. Express/Hulton Archive/Getty Images. Michael Swango. Michael Swango was a medical student in the 1980s and 90s who took numerous residencies at hospitals across the U.S., during which he would both give patients overdoses of drugs to kill them and poison his coworkers with arsenic. He was caught in 1997 and is serving life in prison. Bettman/Getty Images. Janine Jones. Janine Jones is thought to have murdered between 11 and 46 infants in her care while she was working as a vocational nurse in Texas in the 1970s and 80s. She would inject babies in her care with digoxin, heparin, and succinylcholine, drugs that caused the babies to have heart attacks and die. Jones was sentenced to 99 years in prison, but could have been up for release in 2018 to prevent overcrowding. Thus, prosecutors have been filing other old murder charges against her in order to keep her behind bars. Bettman/Getty Images. Advertising. Donald Harvey. During the 1980s, Donald Harvey was an orderly at Marymount Hospital in London, Kentucky, where he killed between 37 and 57 of his patients with poison or by giving them infections. He also poisoned his neighbors and one of his lovers. He was sentenced to life in prison and was killed in a cell by a fellow inmate in 2017. Police photo. Harold Shipman. Harold Shipman, nicknamed Dr. Death, was an English doctor who killed as many as 250 of his patients, most of whom were elderly women, by giving them lethal overdoses of pain medication. He was eventually caught in 1998 when he forged the will of one of his victims to steal hundreds of thousands of dollars from her. He was sentenced to life in prison and hung himself in his cell in 2004. Greater Manchester Police/Getty Images. Dorothea Waddingham. Dorothea Waddingham was a matron at an English nursing home in the 1930s who poisoned two of her patients, an elderly mother and her daughter with multiple sclerosis, in order to steal their inheritance. She was caught after an autopsy revealed the deadly overdose of morphine that she had administered to the women. She was tried and hanged in 1936. Wikimedia Commons. Richard Angelo. Richard Angelo was a nurse in New York in the 1980s who would give his patients heart attacks so that he could play the hero by saving them. However, 8 of the 34 patients that he poisoned with pavulon and anectine, drugs that induce cardiac arrest, died. In 1990, he was sentenced to 50 years to life in prison. Bettman/Getty Images. Advertising. Arnfinn Neset. Arnfinn Neset was a Norwegian nursing home manager who poisoned up to 138 of his elderly patients with succinylcholine chloride, an anesthetic medicine, in the 1980s. He was eventually arrested and served 12 years in prison. NF. Jack the Ripper. Jack the Ripper, as many know, is the name given to the man who killed 5 prostitutes in the Whitechapel district of London in 1888. He is believed to have been some kind of medical professional because of the surgical precision of his killings. The Ripper would surgically remove organs from his victims, including the heart and uterus. The man behind these murders was never caught, so whether or not he was truly a doctor remains unknown. Wikimedia Commons. Doctors and nurses have always inspired a strange mix of trust and fear. We give ourselves over to them when we're at our most vulnerable, which in turn makes us uneasy at the thought that they could perhaps exploit that unique position of power. We allow these people into our most private and defenseless spaces, granting them access to our bodies both inside and out. So we shudder at the idea that their intentions could be anything less than pure. Los Angeles, California. When 69-year-old Marietta Ginda died in September 2016, police had already been called to her home several times because of reports of possible abuse. A detective described conditions at the woman's home in Gardena as horrendous. She was so emaciated and frail that the hospital asked Los Angeles County Adult Protective Services officials to look into her death. Yet by the time a coroner's investigator was able to examine Ginda's 70-pound body, the bones from her legs and arms were gone. Also missing were large patches of skin from her back. With permission from county officials and saying they did not know of the abuse allegations, employees from One Legacy, a Southern California human tissue procurement company, had gained access to the body, taking parts that could have provided crucial evidence. Coroner officials said police did not inform them of the possible abuse complaints until 10 days after Jean died. They said they were able to complete their investigation by using the autopsy exam, hospital records, and photos, and determined that she died of natural causes.
So, this what I got out the whole Kena Jenkins case. And this for real. If you go back on the footage, because this what you gonna have to do. You gonna have to watch all the footage, because look at the people that's on the footage. You ain't even got to watch Monique and them and anybody that's at the party. Man, you ain't even got to study them people no more. You see what I'm saying? Just look at everybody movement and you're gonna start to realize, damn, this was a production team. These people had all these people acting as this hotel, as guests and all this, but these the same people that paid for these events. So they killed multiple people that night. Not just only Kenneka. Multiple people. So we know Selena Gomez got Kena Jenkins organs, and Miss Teresa tried to make it look like she in the ground buried and got caught. This the crazy. Miss Teresa got caught acting like, yeah, we had a funeral, you know what I'm talking about. This was my daughter buried. Leonora going up there taking pictures and all this stuff, and the girl ain't even in the grave. So, whatever happened to Kenneka had to put multiple people that night. They had to cover it up. Covered it up. Because not just cover up a murder for Kenneka. Kenneka murder was to show us this was a harvesting ring that you was exposing. It wasn't nothing about no TY and these boys don't supposed to be there and the ops showed up. It was a harvesting ring that these people is a part of the Illuminati. Freemason and Illuminati is totally different. Freemasonry is a branch off the Illuminati. You see what I'm saying? You could go steps to steps with the Masons, right? But if you choose that path to go through the Illuminati, this what happened. So basically, Kenneka is screaming to us, she is not the only victim, bruh. This is going over all over the world. She would never been in this predicament. I ain't even know the Illuminati run deep into the neighborhood. I didn't even know that. You think of Illuminati, you just think of famous people and rich people and stuff. Everybody in the Illuminati is not rich, but they can get the fame and the clout. But I'm finna get on up out of here, gang. I'm gonna go live later on tonight. Cause I just want to show y'all this stuff, bruh. Look, George Zimmerman, we got to go back to this. Look into his case again and watch how differently it's finna hit. Boom. The case gonna hit different. Then you gonna understand why he's speaking about it.
Well, I want to come out here, first of all, to tell you that
Trayvon Martin,
with my staff, so we're not rolling out some 5-point plan, but some areas where I think all of us could potentially focus. Number one, precisely because law enforcement is often determined at the state and local level.
This just showed me how corrupt the system is, bro. The press is this shit so corrupt. This just to let you know, bro, the whole president is corrupt. The whole government, all the way down to the police, all the way down to these small, everybody corrupt, bro. You see what I'm saying? These the people determine us. What we need to be focusing in life, not God. Mentioning of the 13 royal bloodlines.
The Prince of Saudi Arabia. So there were groups of men with guns that were running through the different casinos trying to find him to assassinate him. And the cover was the shooting at the concert and the gunfire there.
Okay. So do they use the same methods of MK Ultra on ordinary people? And I mean, what I'm saying is it different from celebrities?
My personal opinion with the celebrities is they go through the same trauma-based mind control methods. For instance, look at the Disney kids. I was trafficked at Club 33 in Disneyland. Walt Disney was a pedophile. He was a bloodline member. He was a CIA operative. And these Disney kids, you know, that they watch and they go through certain phases where they shave their heads and go into rehab and go into rehab and go into rehab.
And guess what? A lot of this stuff gonna come from the military. So the CIA and the military, the one that do the ultra mind control. So when you start hearing about the military, you know, when it came to the Kena Jenkins case, Payal, it all go up on the Disney too. Cause look how everybody that's in the chat was raised up off the Disney Channel. Look how all of y'all, all of us, raised off the Disney Channel. This who we looked up to. So keep this in mind, Mickey Mouse and them is fictional. You got real humans behind this voice. And look who it is.
Control methods. For instance, look at the Disney kids. I was trafficked at Club 33 in Disneyland. Walt Disney was a pedophile. He was a bloodline member. He was a CIA operative. And these Disney kids, you know, that they watch and they go through certain phases where they shave their heads and go into rehab and go into rehab and go into rehab.
Man, I remember when Britney Spears shaved her head. Y'all remember when Britney Spears shaved her head? We like, what the fuck? See, the girl done went crazy. Then they put her ass in treatment. Look how many celebrities they done shaved their head and went crazy. Remember when P. Diddy, it was a story with Lil Scrappy said about P. Diddy and Classy. We're like, yeah, P. Diddy just went to Cassie like, I want you to shave your hair. And that's the reason why that girl hair was shaved on the sides. And then keep this in mind. Don't forget about Disney cloning child stars. Don't forget about this. How Disney childs are made. Don't forget about this. Hold on, where the news clip at? I want to show y'all the news clip. I already showed y'all before the news clip. But these people said they got a laboratory where they clone kids, bruh. Clone kids. Matter of fact, let me go to this video. Here we go, right here.
At Wayfair, we get pretty excited about furniture. Around here, it's not a patio, it's a patio. Oh, I love those chairs.
If you have kids at home,
home, this next segment is for you. This Friday, the newest batch of Disney Channel stars grown in the Disney Genetic Engineering Lab will be unveiled to the public.
Right. Now, Tracy, most of our viewers are already familiar with a lot of the products that have come out of the Disney
I know
Lab.
I am.
Yes, but how exactly do you create a Hilary Duff or a Miley Cyrus from scratch?
Right.
Well, we're going to find out exactly how it's done right now, because joining us live from the Disney Lab is one of their lead geneticists, Dr. Andrew Rourke. Welcome, Dr. Rourke. There's quite an operation you've got going on out there.
Thanks, Jim.
So the stars that we see on TV are actually grown right here?
That's correct. They're grown and developed here. We engineer their brains for advanced singing and dancing capabilities, even posing for photos. By the time they grow to desired size, these child stars are fully ready for the camera or the concert tours or whatever Disney chooses to put them in.
That is simply amazing. Now, how long does it take to actually create a star from scratch?
Well, not very long at all. We use the exact same DNA structure for all of our stars, and then we simply tweak minor details like hair color or skin tone.
Right, yeah, we do have some footage here of some of the well-known creations that have come out of your lab. Let's take a look.
Yes, well, that's model 6831-A, publicly known as Mitchell Musso, standard male base with a type 3 skin pigmentation.
Wow.
And that's model 6831-B. We give him slightly thicker eyebrows and type 5 skin.
Well, so it's sort of like putting a puzzle together there.
Exactly.
Amazing.
Okay, here we've got some of the images of some of the newest models. We're going to be seeing a lot of these kids in the future.
Really looks
Bro, this shit for real. Man, this stuff for real. And then I remember in the beginning, that's one of the real reason why Kenneka died too, to drain that pygmy out of her. The melanin, you know what I'm saying? The melanin. King Rob always mentioned that. Yeah, they done drained all the pygmy out of her. Tell him about the melanin. So a lot of these child stars we done grew up on, look at a lot of them gone and missing. We don't even never heard from these people. Like, damn, I remember that child star. And you don't mean to tell me the Bible saying we living amongst demons and they could clone other humans? I don't want to be at no goddamn nightclub and guess that, you know, I see something look like a dime piece, like, oh, let me shoot my shot and go over there bow leg stands and shoot my pimping, and next time, you know, I get this bitch to the house and she a clone. You see what I'm saying? I'm starting noticing shit like, damn, this motherfucker here can't be human. And I'm like, yeah, you want to do it? Yes, long stroke me long time. What that? Wait a minute. Like some AI shit going on. This bitch got to be programmed. I got to stop the car. I'm arguing with the bitch. We in the car, bitch. Who is you? You know what I'm saying? But man, Drake ain't I'm a real bitch. I'm no bitch. You know what I'm talking about? The next thing you know, the conversation getting heated. And she telling me, look at my eyes. I'm a real fucking human. I almost fell for it too when she turned her goddamn back. And when I tried to reach for her hand, I was, wait a minute, this bitch got a button on the back. I hit that button, bitch shut down. I said, I been got. Then they got a track on the beat, and then the feed done popped in, you know what I'm talking about? And the whole time, they just want to know that some of my pimp line, what I be saying, because they were like, man, yeah, we heard them pimp line, we just interested to learn some more about this shit, you know what I'm talking about? What you be saying, you know what I'm talking about? You send a pinner and see what's in her, you know what I'm talking about? And put some real pimping in her. I like that, you know, some shit like that, right? That's what they were trying to figure out. Yeah, the bitch malfunction on me in the car. Cause look, check this out. This how I knew the bitch want waterproof. They take a shower, boo. We in the shower, you know what I'm talking about? When that water, you know what I'm saying, got in their goddamn circuit board. You know what I'm talking about? The bitch started smoking like, damn, what the fuck? I thought I was dreaming, like, you know, that'd jump up out that motherfucker, like, what the fuck? Man, this bitch electrifying, electrocuting and shit, popping out. I'm like, oh my God. Then I had to cover this shit up like, damn, I don't know what happened to her. I can't tell nobody about this shit. Cause even when the police came over there, they had like, look, you got to get out of here right now. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm trying to file a police report on this shit. Get out of here right now. I looked at the chief, the squad. I'm like, everybody got something to do with it. You never met this bitch a day in your life. You hear me? I hear you, Officer Chief. Never met this bitch a day in your life, right? Never met this bitch. You get on out of here now. I'm damn in my own crib. I got to go. Man, they done ran me up out that motherfucker. You know what I'm talking about? Then I started noticing when we watch movies and shit, the blinks be off. I'm like, damn, this motherfucker ain't blinking normally. Like, you know what I'm talking about? And she looking at me like, damn, but she look like she in a daydream. Like, damn, I don't just see the soul connection. Like, damn, something ain't right. Yeah, gang, I'm gonna get on this John. I'm gonna go live later on tonight, and now, how y'all like, share, and subscribe. You dig?
Looks like you have someone for every kid in America to love
Well, that's
here.
the idea, Tracy. Our writers find it very liberating. For example, our new model, Haley, is a singing, dancing, snowboarding, half Japanese, half Indian girl.
Wow.
Now, finding her in reality would be impossible.
Right, but sounds like a surefire hit to me. Oh, now this one's Zac Efron. I've seen him before.
Yes, Zach was actually one of our earliest
My
models.
daughters love him. I mean, he looks so real.
Actually, I think we could have done a better job with Zach. He could show more human tendencies. If you look closely, you'll notice there's a certain deadness around the eyes.
I do see that,
Yeah.
yes.
I'm sorry, it's hard for me to watch because all I see is all my mistakes.
Yeah.
So, they talking about this shit like it's normal. This shit don't scare y'all, bruh. I don't want to be talking to no motherfucking eyes doing weird shit. Now, because I done got skied.